You're seeing this?
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
How do you know Liechtenstein's behind it?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them certainly have doubts about the Margrave's plans. But they wouldn't dream of stating them aloud. While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein, on the contrary, sees his opportunity.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
Have you fallen out with the town councillor?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it all. They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband, and the fact that I'm handling his estates makes their hair stand on end.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
What's that? Greetings. What do you need?
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered. I'm not idle.
God forbid. But standing around here must be a pain in the arse, no? You might get thirsty.
Not really. What of it?
Shall we roll some dice? I'm sure you can take a little breather, eh?
Well, all right. But just for a little while. I'll wait at the table over there.
You dry before you can see Dowdy.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord! May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Milady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
I'd like to, but I'm afraid I've had more than my fill already. I wouldn't want to cause a scandal.
Wise. No matter, I shall drink a toast alone. But to your health.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even watching? That's hard to believe.
Martin likes to exaggerate. He was talking about the sorry nags even when they belonged to someone else.
Nags? What nags? These are the best thoroughbreds east of Prague.
I'd like to check your horses out. To see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without a by your leave. Or to harass my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
We'll talk later and in private. Right now, we have more important things to attend to.
Don't try my patience.
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Alder.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
I refuse to fight. I'm here as an envoy, not a jester.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see?
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back. Ah! 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 Yeah!
God be with you, neighbor.
Greetings.
A little misunderstanding.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
Do I have any choice?
If it's really that important, you don't.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
God grant you health, sir. Greetings to you.
For you.
Beer!
Your Grace, may I disturb you for a moment?
Certainly.
Godwin, I came with the lords from Rattay.
Now I remember. Forgive me, there are many guests, and I only have one head.
Exactly why we mustn't push too hard.
Patricians and usurers. They're without honor.
We're trying to forge an alliance against our common enemy.
They're trying to do one thing and one thing only. Line their pockets.
They remember well how the burghers in Moravia fared in the last war.
They were on the wrong side. And wasn't it the lords of Kunstadt who got the most out of it?
You said it yourself. It was war back then, now we're allies.
Allies? Aren't you more concerned about keeping the spoils of war, Sobotchek?
I beg your pardon?
Another war wouldn't suit you so well, would it?
Because of the likes of you and Hennick the Dry Devil.
Now you can't stand the sight of us. But we were good enough to do the dirty work for you.
Didn't you get paid? The rest of it isn't my problem, Shishka.
I didn't come here to argue with another Kunstadt. Dry Devil is enough.
You two sound like an old married couple. You argue all the time, but you couldn't live without each other. And he hasn't even greeted his own cousin yet. Tell me, what did Hennick ever do for his house?
He certainly doesn't sully its name by conspiring with the merchants. A knight ought to fight out of conviction, not for profit.
He who has nothing can lose nothing. Eh, Lord Trotsnov?
Just you wait. The likes of Rutard and Alder will certainly find some use for your silver.
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and the booze. And the gossip.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting here?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Yobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms has a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics then.
Anna of Volstein, for instance.
Truly? Well, let's see about it then.
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it, candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund?
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
I'd be honored to oblige. I'm in my prime.
Forget about it. Even if by some miracle you could manage to sire children, you'd die before you could raise them.
The truth doesn't offend, my lord. But I had to give it a try. How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
He may be young, but he's got something between his ears. He's got battle experience. And when he gets the estate that's his by right, he'll be well secured for life.
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay and seems quite happy with that state of affairs. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
Job's the nightingale. He looks more like a wet hen to me.
It's quite unusual to see him cornered like this.
I'll bet my last groschen he's setting the stage for his final performance. I hope there'll be no singing. I've had a few nightingales and they all screeched like the devil.
Be careful with those groschen, my friend.
What is this about?
Oh, nothing. An old grievance.
A little misunderstanding involving a big pile of counterfeit groschen.
How big a pile?
Big enough for that bastard Istvan to raise a small army. He caused us a shitload of trouble.
I heard about that Hungarian puss-sack. But he was dangerously clever. And as slippery as a bag of eels.
Even though Jobst is right, I'm in favor of decisive action. We can no longer afford to wait.
As if I didn't have enough on my plate already. Like my ward, who I can't leave unattended for a few days without him damn near getting executed.
Oh, go easy on him. It wasn't his fault. And you said you forgive him.
But for the last time. Those shenanigans of his have got to stop.
Ah, young Lord Capon is an adult now.
But he doesn't act like it, damn it.
So marry him off.
What?
Find him a wife. That'll straighten him out in no time.
Well, now that you mention it...
He'll sire a few brats and he'll be as tame as a lamb. And happy.
An interesting idea, don't you think, Hanush? Maybe he really needs a firm woman's hand.
Don't you start too. Am I supposed to find him a bride? On top of everything?
No burger's daughter, but them merchants would bleed you dry before you could say dowry.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? My Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
Lord Kunstadt has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
Why we mustn't push too hard.
So, Bocek, your niece Yivka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstadt.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Thank you, but I'd rather not drink. The evening has just begun.
What's the hold-up? Am I supposed to open my mouth?
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstadt will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians. Our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
Yes.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylanders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
And drunks! Give them hell!
Lazy fools, a lot of them.
How dare you?
Some of you are even swelling right here in the city council meeting. This is unbelievable.
Remove this swillpot from the hall immediately.
I'm telling the truth. This whole council is a farce. The whole city knows it.
Lord of Zarjitz, your insolence just cost you your place on the council, and a month in the dungeon.
But...
Hopefully that'll be enough for him to sober up. And if not, put him in the pillory for a while, bailiff.
I'll see to it as soon as the council is over, Your Majesty.
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore place the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the King's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace, at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities. And get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp's nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Marquardt. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in the land ruled by a good king. You did a good job, waiter. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the council was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Odorin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easy. Rabosch will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No. We shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosch falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
And Margaret Jobst. Didn't you say that Lord Kronstadt was going with them?
Nah, so what? They left a long time ago. I swear to God, I saw them there a little while ago. They were sneaking around with the widow of Bartosz.
With Anna of Waldstein?
Aye, that's the one. What's old Kronstadt doing with that front?
Don't talk about Lady Anna in front of me.
Yeah, well. Don't you understand? Kronstadt doesn't care enough about our plan to get his old arse into the saddle. That says something.
Now we close our doors for the evening. People here know what to do. There'll be plenty more tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday too.
You hear that Lord Kronstadt's niece is marrying the young Lord of Perkstein?
I sure did. Wojciech made sure Everyone heard.
And who is this young pack? Not sure. I've never heard of him.
Yet another impoverished nobleman. Not the first to end up like that in the Sasau region. Well,
Begging to be scored. I drank many under the table. Even the notorious.
Even know what to do. Be quiet. Soul is purely ornament. I had that.
About the girls? But the piglet? Parish priest has quite a view.
I'd rather eat
Sweating at the altar. Nearly drops his psalter. Alleluia.
I'd rather we didn't end up like that poor sod over there.
I'm filled with grease. The roast was calling out to me, begging to be eaten.
I couldn't resist it either. The sausages
not sure.
were we?
I have a feeling I forgot. I remember someone
To King Wenceslas.